So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. Today makes it exactly 1 month and 3 weeks since OSINACHI PETER, a Nigerian gospel artist and the crooner of the popular Ekweme song, passed. When news of OSINACHI's passing made it out to the public, the first rumored cause of passing was cancer. But before long, several accounts of her family, her friends, her associates, her colleagues in church, and even her own children pointed to the possibility that OSINACHI suffered and possibly passed as a result of domestic violence. Now, what was excruciatingly painful about OSINACHI's passing was not just the demise itself, but the tales of protracted history of physical, mental, emotional, and financial abuse that she allegedly suffered in the hands of her husband, Peter Nwachukwu. There were several accounts of how she was starved, tortured, isolated, humiliated, and controlled by her husband, despite she was the breadwinner and the sole provider in that marriage. And despite the degree of turmoil she went through in her marriage, she stayed, she endured, made excuses for her abuser, bore the torture that eventually cost her her life. I'm sure we're very aware and abreast of the nitty-gritty and details of all of that, but it was important for me to give that prelude before we dived into the video. So that being said, since this incident broke out, I have been giving us updates, news, as well as the legal implications of all the matters that have been arising from this incident. And although a lot of you have reached out to me to give updates as to the OSINACHI case, I'm very sorry that I haven't been able to, not because I didn't want to, but because prior to now, there weren't any much substantial updates to be given. And I know you guys trust me to give you quality and reliable information. So I didn't want to trade that trust for views, coming here to ramble on things that are not important, just to create content. No, I'm not about all of that. But today, there are a number of information, very important information, that I must update you on concerning the OSINACHI case. So let's go. First, the funeral arrangements for OSINACHI have been concluded, and the burial date, when of course she will be laid to Mother Earth, have been reportedly slated for the 25th of June 2022. That's next month. So yes, OSINACHI will be buried next month. Really, it still feels like a bad dream that a lot of us just want to wake up from, but no, it's not a dream. This is happening. Secondly, there are reports that a traditional divorce in death is being contemplated by OSINACHI's family. Now, this is a very serious and rare step taken traditionally by the Igbos, especially when the husband causes the woman's passing, either through ritual killing, domestic violence, or the likes. What happens here is, despite the woman, their daughter, has passed, her family would visit the husband's family, return the bride price, dissolve the marriage in absentia of the woman, and that marriage will cease to exist even in death. So let us know in the comment section where you're from and whether such practices are obtainable in your tribe or in your culture. Let us know what it's like in your place. Now, there are several implications of this move in the Igbo culture. First, the husband and their family members will not be involved or represented in the burial rites of that woman. In fact, they will not even be invited for the burial ceremony of that woman. Secondly, she will not be buried in that man's compound, in her former husband's compound. Rather, her remains will be taken to her father's compound or her maiden family compound, and she'll be laid to rest there. Let us not forget that in the Igbo culture, where a person is laid to rest is a very big deal in the typical Igbo tradition. The typical traditional Igbo person does not believe in being buried in cemeteries or in the city or in any place which is not the traditional place where he or she should be laid to rest. They believe that the body must be brought back to its roots, where it belongs. And that is the only way the person can rest in peace. If it's a man, the man should be buried in his compound, and if it's a woman, she should be buried in her husband's compound. That is the Igbo tradition. It's taken so seriously that even those that pass abroad and have the means to repatriate the remains go the extra mile to bring back the remains of a typical Igbo man back to his hometown to be laid to rest. That is the Igbo tradition. So in OC's case, if the divorce in death happens, Peter's family loses a right to the remains, to the corpse of OSINACHI. She will then be buried in her father's compound, just like a single mother that never got married. Another implication of this divorce in death that OSINACHI's family is contemplating is that all the funeral documents, from the flyers to the pamphlets to the memorial handouts, will not bear that name, Nwachukwu. Her husband's name will totally, completely be expunged from all those documents, and she'll be addressed in death by her maiden name. So that is what will happen if OSINACHI's family pursues this route and does it. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think that OSINACHI's family should do that? Or given the kind of person that OSINACHI was, do you really think that she would have liked such a thing to happen? OSINACHI was very self-suffering, self-sacrificing, and wanted that marriage, that name, Nwachukwu, by all means. So do you think it will be going against her will for this divorce to happen, a divorce that she refused to pull through in her lifetime? Do you think that her family should pull it through for her in her demise? Do you think that will be going against her will and how she would have wanted it if she were alive? Or do you think that it serves Peter Nwachukwu and his family right for the way their son treated OSINACHI in her lifetime? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Another update which some of us may or may not be aware of is the fact that Peter Nwachukwu, of course, has been arrested. Not only arrested, but has been paraded by the Inspector General of Police in Abuja. Upon his arrest, he has since been remanded in police custody without bail. This time, he has really bitten more than he can chew, because the Minister of Women Affairs is particularly interested in OSINACHI's case. You will recall that she lost her cool the minute she visited OSINACHI's house and had that interview with her children. She came out vowing to get to the roots of that case and ensure that justice is secured for OSINACHI. So she has taken upon this case personally with her office and all her might. She has had several meetings with the Inspector General of Police that justice must be served. There is no getting away from this one. Another angle which is worthy of discussion is the post-mortem examinations that were carried out many weeks back, more than a month ago. It is a surprise to me that the findings and the results of that autopsy has still not been made public up till now, after more than a month. Correct me if I'm wrong, but autopsy results should not take more than 3 days to be ready. So why is the public not aware of the results of OSINACHI's autopsy examinations? I mean, it's a wonder why the authorities have not made it public. I expected, and I'm sure you also expected, that by now, just like the Doen case, this is a public case. She was a public figure. The public are interested to get to the roots of this matter. So this is a public concern, and we all are interested in the outcome of this investigation. So I believe that the police or the responsible or relevant authorities should make that autopsy result public. Anyways, for now, let me believe that there is good reason why the authorities have not made it public. But there is also good reason for me to suspect that that autopsy result perhaps didn't speak in favor of Peter Nwachukwu, because a big story just broke out. And that story is news that the federal government has now slammed Peter Nwachukwu with the capital offense of culpable homicide, punishable by death. Culpable homicide is just a synonym for murder. So when you hear someone has been charged with culpable homicide, it is just synonymous to being charged for murder. And for the government to bring forward such a very serious charge, I mean, that's a capital offense. For such a heavy charge to be brought against him, it implies that the authorities perhaps have an arsenal of evidence in their coffers against him, which just might include an indicting autopsy report. It is worthy of note also that it is not only this culpable homicide offense that Peter was charged against. He has been slammed with a 23 count charge, bordering on other offenses which include emotional, verbal, and physical abuse, as well as aggravated assault. These developments are great steps in great directions, and I'm very hopeful that justice will be served, especially now that it's raining justice for domestic violence victims. You'll recall that only 2 weeks ago, a high court sitting in Lagos convicted a Danish citizen, Peter Nielsen. Peter again, what's with Peters and domestic violence these days? Anyways, Peter Nielsen is a Danish citizen who was living in Banana Island with his wife, and he has been sentenced to kick the bucket by hanging for taking the life of his Nigerian wife and their daughter. In 2018, at about 3:45 a.m., Peter woke up and smothered his wife, Zainab, and their child, Petra, to death at their Banana Island home in Lagos. And although he pleaded not guilty to the charge of murder brought against him, the honorable judge found him otherwise and went ahead to sentence him to death by hanging for the murder of his wife and his child. So hopefully the criminal trial of Peter Nwachukwu, husband of late gospel singer OSINACHI Nwachukwu, will commence shortly. And be sure that I'll furnish you with all the important updates as they unravel. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, drop your feelings in the comments, and stay glued for the next one. It's me, your girl, Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.